Being the President of the United States is tough. The US President is the most watched politician in the world, and oftentimes they have to make really tough decisions. So Biden decided that the Middle East would be his big moment. Since Middle East has remained the favorite furnace of Democratic presidents that they love setting alight from time to time. But Biden went a step further and completely abandoned Israel. Far, far away in Moscow, an unfazed Vladimir Putin was watching the drama unfold with his deep, penetrating eyes. He had banked on Biden to F up, and Biden delivered. Hi and welcome. This is TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group, and I am your host Rohan Sachdeva. In this video, I'll tell you about how Biden's naivety in handling Middle East has given Vladimir Putin the opportunity he was waiting for. Let's begin. Joe Biden remains obsessed with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. The sitting US president also keeps blaming his predecessor for letting Russia become too strong and vows to revive American leadership. But now we see that Biden's disastrous policies are handing Putin the keys of the global power structure. Today, Russian influence is growing everywhere, be it Eastern Europe, the Indo-Pacific, Turkey, and most recently, Israel and Palestine. Russia is fast replacing the exclusive American leadership in Israel-Palestine mediation. Israel kept getting annoyed with Biden's pro-Palestine policies and therefore has shown willingness to drift towards Moscow. And to make matters worse, Biden has been overtly supporting the Palestinian cause, which has provoked skirmishes between the Israeli military and Hamas, a terror outfit that controls Gaza. Russia has seized the opportunity by putting all its weight behind the Israel-Palestine negotiations. For the past 4 years, former President Donald Trump's pressure desisted Hamas from attacking Israel. But around 1,500 rockets have been fired at Israel by the Gaza-based terror group since Tuesday. This is a direct consequence of Biden's weak policy to let Israel fend for itself in the face of external aggression. An irked Israel has responded with airstrikes, targeting the Hamas leadership in Palestine. Meanwhile, Biden has issued a diplomatically balanced statement, and his administration shows no sign of intervening. Biden has quite literally left the region burning. Putin is too smart to ignore how Biden is creating a diplomatic vacuum when it comes to handling the escalation between Israel and Hamas. Seeing an opportunity, Russia has urged the Quartet, a group comprising the EU, US, Russia, and the UN, to intervene. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov even held talks with the UN Secretary General in Moscow. At the press briefing, Lavrov said, "I think we came to a common conclusion that the most urgent task is calling a meeting of the Quartet of International Mediators, Russia, US, UN, and the EU." Lavrov added, "And we trust the Secretary General as the coordinator of the Quartet." Therefore, Russia is successfully eroding American leverage in the Israel-Palestine conflict by bringing in international stakeholders. As such, Moscow plans to take up the leadership role as it is the one who brought up the proposal of engaging the Quartet. The Kremlin is making it clear that the US is no longer the only power supposed to handle the Israel-Palestine conflict. In fact, Russia itself enjoys a lot of leverage in the region. For many years, it has been critical of the US in resolving the Israel-Palestine conflict and has consistently sought to stake claim of the mediator role. As such, Russia is bipartisan, and unlike the US, it doesn't consider Hamas to be a terror group. At the same time, Russia maintains very close ties with Israel, and therefore the Kremlin enjoys sufficient flexibility in handling the regional conflict. As a matter of fact, the Russian Foreign Ministry has issued a statement, according to which Deputy Chairman of the Hamas Political Bureau, Musa Abu Marzouk, made a conditional Israel-Palestine ceasefire proposal during a telephone conversation with Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov. Of course, Israel might not be happy about Russia's relationship with Hamas. However, the Netanyahu government in Israel does understand that Russia is a trustworthy partner and its Hamas relationship doesn't come at the cost of its alliance with Israel. The rapprochement between Russia and Hamas might as well open doors for a lasting peace solution in the region, as Moscow seems to enjoy a better working relationship than the US with both Israel and Palestine. Moreover, the Israel-Palestine conflict is illustrative of the fact that Biden has a tendency to upset his allies and in several cases to simply leave them unsatisfied. Only last month, the US president was resurrecting the Ukraine-Russia conflict as a part of his smear campaign against Putin in Eastern Europe. However, Ukraine and other Eastern European nations felt let down when they realized how Biden was pushing them into a certain disaster by provoking Russia. Biden showed a tendency of instigating conflict from the very sidelines instead of taking Putin head on. Today, American standing in Eastern Europe is going down, while Moscow gets a chance of reclaiming its position in this part of the world. Even in the Indo-Pacific region, countries like Japan and India feel that the US is maintaining a safe distance from them and giving a free pass to Beijing. New Delhi and Tokyo are also concerned about the possibility of a practical tie-up between Moscow and Beijing. Therefore, Indo-Pacific powers like India and Japan are ready to keep Moscow in good humor, even at the cost of annoying Uncle Sam. Similarly, Turkey, a NATO ally, has chosen Russia over the US. Biden and his Democratic Party have ideological issues with Ankara, and the necessary fallout has been the crystallization of a Turkey-Russia partnership that further reduces US influence in the Middle East. Joe Biden is thus giving Putin the key to a global power structure. Some of the most influential regional powers are choosing Putin over Biden, and it seems that the US president is going to unwittingly hand over global leadership to Vladimir Putin.